Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope you're all staying healthy. This week on the Daly Dose YouTube video, well, we're actually talking a little about some sports history, but we haven't actually gotten the show started just yet, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Wednesday, October 14th, 2020, you are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. I hope your week is going well. I hope that you, your family, your friends, everyone in your life is staying healthy physically as well as mentally. And believe me, right now, I think mentally might be the most difficult part, at least here in the States, where we have all the politics going on. You have everyone pulling you every different direction. It is just kind of a wild time right now, so I hope you're taking care of yourself. Take in positive things. It's going to make you feel a lot better. Hey, we are glad to have you here with us today, though. And you know, we actually have a very memorable day in sports history today, because it was back on October 14th, of 2003 that the Chicago Cubs and all of their fans decided to blame some poor little nerd named Steve Bartman because they lost to the Florida Marlins 8-3 in the National League Championship Series. Here's how this all went down. They were up 3-2 in the series, and the Cubs had actually led 3-0 in the 8th inning of Game 6. When Florida Marlins batter Luis Castillo hit a fly ball into foul territory over in left field. Cubs outfielder Moises Alou tried to catch the ball. He jumps up at the fence to grab it. However, along with a few other spectators that were seated up against the wall, Cubs fan Steve Bartman reached for the ball. He kind of deflected it, and Alou couldn't make the catch. If Alou had caught the ball, it would have been the second out in the inning, and the Cubs would have been just 4 outs away from winning their first National League pennant since back in 1945. Now, I know this probably won't make Cubs fans happy, but I've got to say it. Remember, this play didn't allow the winning run. This play certainly didn't allow 8 runs, because remember, it was 3-0 at the time. This play wasn't the final play of the game, and you had no redemption from this play. The score was still 3-0 in the top of the 8th. You still have the lead. Go win the game. The 2003 Chicago Cubs didn't lose this game because of Steve Bartman. They didn't lose this series because of Steve Bartman. They lost this game, and they lost this series because they were soft. There's no other way to say it. They were soft. The Chicago Cubs allowed a play beyond their own control to take them completely out of their game. Not only did they then allow 8 runs in that 8th inning alone following this play, they did also lose Game 7, 9-6, and got sent home for the year. But this has nothing to do with some nerd reaching for a foul ball. This has everything to do with the Chicago Cubs being soft and finding excuses to fail in crunch time. Here's the thing. Championship teams don't care if a fan interferes with a play. They don't care if they get a bad call from the ref. They don't care if it's bad weather. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just go out and they make the next play. The 2003 Chicago Cubs were clearly not a championship team. Hey, they made up for it in 2016. They went out and won the World Series that year. They went out and made history that year. Here's the thing to keep in mind, though. That 2016 team that did win the series, they wouldn't have let a Steve Bartman take them out of their game. They just found ways to win, because that's what championship teams do. Hey, if you'd like to contact the show and tell us, I don't know, maybe when you interfered with a game, we would love to hear from you. Hit us up on email, dalydosesports@gmail.com, or go find us over on Facebook or Twitter. Both of those handles are at Daly Dose Sports. If you are bored, if you want to talk sports, maybe you have a question, maybe you have a comment, maybe you have a concern for us, we would love to hear what's on your mind. Sometimes it just helps to reach out to someone. Feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear what it is that you have to say. Also, remember, we are now placing a video portion of the podcast, just a small snippet over on YouTube. Be sure to head over there and subscribe to the Daily Dose on YouTube. Just put up a little bit of the podcast. You can kind of see here in the Daily Dose studio what's going on. You can see if I have any new, decorations on my desk. You can kind of check out the podcast in a different way, so make sure that you check out the podcast over on YouTube. Hey, and as long as you're out there doing all that online shopping that we know everyone is doing, make sure you stop by tpublic.com and pick up some Daily Dose gear. TeePublic is doing sales every single week. We've got a number of items over there, and the cool part about a lot of them, especially clothing, if you get a sweatshirt, get a hoodie, you get a t-shirt, you can pick different colors with the Daily Dose logo on them. We've also got social distancing masks, we've got cell phone covers, we've got laptop covers, a number of items over at tpublic.com. Just search Daily Dose when you get there, and you will find exactly what you need. Okay, YouTube, make sure that you go over and you check out the rest of the podcast, because we actually have something different for you this week. This week on the show, I've got a few things that I need to take care of. But never fear, because we still have something for you to listen to on the podcast. Not sure how long that you've been listening to the podcast, but we started back in 2014. And prior to the podcast, we actually had the Daily Dose radio show. Well, today on the podcast, we are playing some old Daily Dose top fives from way back in the early days of the radio show, way back in the early days of the podcast. We were talking some NFL. We were talking some NBA. Of course, we were talking a little bit of history, as many times we do here on the Dose. So make sure that you go out and you check out the full podcast. I will leave a link here on YouTube for you down in the comments. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.